I was at a football game one time in high school. One of the more popular guys, he had a 65 Impala. And just the way he negotiated and had the car go over the speed bump, it just looked like poetry in motion to me. I was just like, oh man, I can't wait till I get my first car. It's gonna be a lowrider, I just can't wait. And that's kind of where it all started. I own a 1936 Packard 120 convertible. What I call a Hollywood car. It kind of has that Hollywood flavor to it, you know, from the late 30s. It's a pretty blue with a blue leather interior. Came fully loaded from the factory. It's always been a fully loaded car as far as it already had its banjo steering wheel, the clock, had the radio, you know, with the dual side mount spare tires and convertible with the rumble seat. But then once I bought the car, I put more accessories on it. You know, I found the passing lamp, I put the Appleton fog lights on it, more bumper guards, the artillery wheels. That was a big thing for me. Packards were, in the 30s, almost the very most high-end car that you could buy here in America. So they were kind of considered the American Rolls-Royce at the time. So it had a lot of panache. And then, of course, I did all of my stuff, which is I lowered it, changed the rear end, put a modern rear end in it so it has highway gears, did the hydraulic suspensions. From way back when, from day one, since I've been lowriding, since I was a teenager, it's all about hydraulics for me. And I do my own. I do my own suspension work, and I do all my cutting, welding, and all that stuff myself. Each individual car has to be custom made, and that's kind of part of my passion. I love fabricating and doing all that. I also try to make them ride really smooth, and the car still rides like a Packard. I was born in San Francisco. My parents are both from El Salvador. Somewhere in San Francisco they met, they had a love affair, whatever you have it. And unfortunately they broke up when I was about 2 years old. So the rest of my life I lived with my mom as a single mom. She always worked, a lot of the times 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs to make ends meet. We moved seemed like almost every year. We were bouncing around, moving all the time. So I didn't get a real sense of roots in the community, other than we lived basically in the same part of town. We always kind of lived around the Mission. It'll sound funny now, but the straw that broke the camel's back for my mom was when the rents in San Francisco hit $100 a month. She said, that's it, we're out of here. So that's when she got serious and she looked for a place to buy. And she looked all over the Bay Area. She did her due diligence and looked around, and she settled on Union City. And eventually I went to James Logan High School, and that's where I grew up. Luckily, back then, in those days, there was a lot of shop classes offered in high school. And I took everything. I took wood shop, I took electronics, closed circuit television, auto shop. I took it all. I really excelled at working with metal. And I took machine technology. I actually impressed my instructor to the point where he helped me get a job. After about 5 years of working there, I realized one day it was a great job. I made good money. I thought to myself, I really want a career. And at the time, I had a friend who had become a postal worker. He really enjoyed it, and he enjoyed walking the neighborhoods and how everybody thanked him for bringing the mail, and he kind of liked being a public figure. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of like the kind of job I want. I want something where the public feels good about you, you're kind of looked up to and respected. And so then somewhere along the line, it dawned on me, I said I should look into the fire service. I just walked over to the local firehouse near my house in Union City. I knocked on the front door and said, hey, excuse me, how you doing? My name's Randy. I'd like to know, how do you become a fireman? And the guy was looking at me like, yeah, you kid? Yeah, right. And he goes, just go to the local college. He goes, you go there, you talk to the counselors, they'll set you up. I went to the college, I signed up, I got an appointment, I saw a counselor, and we sat down and talked about a career choice in pursuing the fire science program, and I got in. There's 3 processes to becoming a firefighter. You take a written test, then you take a physical exam, and then you take the oral exam. The oral exam is questions. You sit on a board and they ask you questions, and you have to be able to answer well. And that was my biggest hurdle, getting into the fire service. But luckily, there's a whole set of group of friends you end up creating. They're all going through the process together, and you end up forming these bonds. And actually, some of these friends are still my friends to this day. Once I started doing the hands-on stuff, I excelled at it. So I knew this was definitely the kind of career choice for me. I didn't want to just be in the fire service just so I can collect a check every 2 weeks and work 10 days a month. That wasn't me. I really wanted to do it like for real. And my ultimate goal was to work for the city of San Jose. Well, there's only 10 metropolitan fire departments in the nation, and San Jose is one of them. And I dedicated those 5 years to it, but I knew that the payoff would be worth it. I finally got called for San Jose, which was so excited, and I ended up doing 28 years of service there. 17 of those years were driving Engine 8. Engine 8 was one of the busiest engine companies in the city of San Jose. Engine 8, throughout my career, was always one of the top 10 busiest engine companies in the nation. So we got to go on a lot of calls. No 2 days were the same. Never. I mean, you just never knew what you were going to get into. We did get to see a lot. But no matter what challenge life threw at you, you were going to come through it. And you had your crew. We were all going to help each other, and all 4 of us were going to come out of there together unharmed. You come home to your family, and it gives you a whole different aspect on life. It makes you appreciate your life because it can so easily be taken away. You walk away with that appreciation. It's not common for people in the fire service to have a bunch of old cars or a bunch of lowriders. And everybody that's in the fire service has a passion, has that fire service passion. So I think they could relate on some degree. They knew that was my thing. But regular people, the normal civilians, they would always be shocked and amazed. It's like, you know, how does this lowrider guy become a firefighter? Or how does this firefighter become a lowrider guy? But to me, it's all a part of the passion. You know, I have a passion for these old cars. I had a passion for the fire service. The two just seem to go hand in hand to me. The passion is driving the cars around town. I mean, that's what it's all about. Seeing the looks on people, the smiles, the stories. Oh, my grandfather used to have one, my uncle used to, you know, I hear all these stories all the time. Somebody used to have one just like it. My wife gets into it. She'll even dress the part a little bit. She'll wear clothes that are timely fitting with the era of the car. And it's fun when she does. And I can tell that she's actually enjoying herself, and it makes it a fun afternoon or a fun weekend for both of us. A lot of times we cruise through Niles Canyon. It's a beautiful road that goes right through town here into Pleasanton. It's beautiful rolling mountain hills. We drive through there a lot, and it makes it a fun afternoon or a fun weekend for both of us. So I have a lot of friends in the lowrider culture and other car cultures. So many years ago, when I first bought this place about 19 years ago, I was worried about my neighbors getting along with my friends and my friends getting along with my neighbors. And I kind of live in this quiet little neighborhood. So what I decided to do was have a party. And I thought that way everybody get to know each other. And I went all out. I actually got a permit from the city. We shut down the court, and we filled the whole court with old cars. Obviously, I had all my cars in the backyard, and we had this big giant barbecue, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of people, we had like a little car show, we even gave out awards and everything. It was a big success. And all my neighbors got to know my friends, all my friends got to know my neighbors, and it worked out really well. It was one of the best things I ever did. The party, instead of being an annual party, now we decided we're gonna do it every 3 years. So it kind of gives people something to look forward to every 3 years, but it's turned out to be just a lot of fun, and people will look forward to it. There's a lot of stereotypes out there of the lowrider culture. You know, everybody driving around in a 64 Impala with, 4 people in it is looking for trouble. That's not true, right? We all know that's not true. It's part of our creativity, right? Our Latinoism, our raza, to express ourselves creatively, and we do it through our vehicles and through our cars. I try to share with people to let them see that there's a whole nother part of lowriding. I feel like I've been breaking down stereotypes since I was in high school. This little cholo dude, I was dressed up in my khakis and my winos and my Pendletons, and I'd go to the job interviews and people wouldn't take you seriously. Even the school teachers themselves wouldn't take me seriously. But then once they saw my grades that I wasn't, a complete idiot, once they saw that I had a passion for certain things, they would be impressed. So I in a sense, enjoyed breaking those barriers throughout my whole life. I've always worked harder than everybody else around me, and I didn't get paid extra for that, but it's just what I did. I figured anything that's worth doing, I'm gonna do 100%. And it shows in every facet of my life, everything that I've done, whether it's my cars or my home or my relationship with my wife or the jobs that I've done, it's all about 100%. I'm all in. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it all in. And always by working that much harder, it impresses people, it changes their minds, and they see you in a different light. My name is Randy Perez. I'm a retired San Jose firefighter, and I'm a lowrider role model.